what does it mean if the company I'm forecasting has tiny or even negative gross profit but a high amount of net profit? Let's take a look at that. This is a company called EDGCO, Electricity Generating Company. And what we can see in this company is that I'm looking at the balance sheet, and this is the assets side of the balance sheet. There's consolidated for 2012 and 2011, and then there's company 2012 and 2011. The first thing we can see, and let's just look at 2012 versus 2012. Forget about these two just to remove the confusion. First thing we can see is current assets are almost 20 versus 10 here. That means that the company only has a tiny amount of assets current assets compared to the companies that they're owning. And we can see the big difference here on the long-term asset side is that the company has a small amount of fixed assets, but when it's consolidated, it comes out to a much larger amount of fixed assets. Now, what this means is that the company has ownership in many companies, and the ownership is included in the consolidated numbers, but not included in the company-only numbers. In fact, this company appears to have started to really become a conglomerate owning many operating companies. And we can go to the profit and loss statement next and check out if that's the case. How we'll do that is we will go down the financial statement to the profit and loss right here, and we can see that the revenue was 14 in 2012 and only 2 when it was considered the company. So once we brought together all of the subsidiaries and other holdings, we can see a consolidated number that's 7 times higher than that. And the result of that is that we also see that the company, its operations, actually, maybe it has a small power plant and things like that, but it pales compared to the revenue and the gross profit that they're getting on the rest of their business. Now, where we can also see is that the company has a lot of share in profit here that comes through, and therefore we see that that number is quite large, and that's coming from all the holdings that the company has. And so the result is that we have profit before income tax is quite high versus a very low number here. And what you can see in this case is that forecasting a company-only number doesn't make sense, and forecasting a consolidated-only number gets a little bit difficult too, because this is hard to forecast a growth rate on. So the thing that we want to do is check for this company to see if they have a lot of holdings underneath them, and let's just see. We'll go up to financial statements here, see if we can come up with anything. And here, let's see, about right here. Okay, I see group structure. We can see the ownership of this company, EDGCO, but they have many wholly owned and equally, let's say, majority owned and minority owned companies, many. And so this is part of what you're seeing in the P&L and the balance sheet. And so if we were to forecast, they've also got 3 major holdings in overseas operations that also have a lot under them. So the result of this is that if you wanted to build a real accurate forecast, you really want to identify which ones, maybe the top 3 subsidiary companies, and then those companies you want to do your forecasts on, and then consolidate those up. So it's a little bit more of a complicated thing when a company is large and it's owning a small subsidiary or has ownership in some other companies that it's consolidating. Sometimes you can just keep it simple by assuming that that would grow at a certain pace, but in this case it's not that simple.